Hi and welcome to Carol's Organic Kitchen. Tonight I'm going to talk about the starch content in some foods. And as you might know, the higher the starch content in foods, the more sugar that builds up inside our systems. And of course, if you're suffering with diabetes, there are a list of foods that you need to avoid. In general, things like potatoes, white pasta, white rice, any type of white foods, cauliflowers, they contain a high level of starch. But I'm going to talk about our common white potato. Now, here's our common white potato, and I just want to show you just a simple experiment on the amount of starch that's contained in our potatoes. So I'm just going to cut this in half. And I don't know if you can see that, but if you check the knife there, that is a white residue left from the white potato itself. I hope you can see that. That's actually a white residue that's built up on the knife there. That's the amount of starch that's contained in the potato. Now, I bought some purple potatoes from my farmer's market. I've had this potato for a few weeks now, and as you can see, it's actually sprouted. It's an old potato, but just look, I've cut this in half, and it's still quite moist inside. And as you can see, it's a very deep coloured potato. That, as you know, with organic food, will have a lot more minerals than you'd find in your average white potato, obviously non-organic as well. But even white organically grown potatoes are extremely starchy. This has a lot less starch and a lot more nutrients, which is more beneficial for you. Now I'm just going to cut that as well, and I'm going to show you the difference in the starch levels to the white potato compared to the purple. Now that's the purple potato. There's barely any residue on that, but what there is just sort of purple film, which is still moist, even though it's an old potato, which is a few weeks old. And look at the amount of moisture. If you see that, it's still quite, it's still quite wet. Sorry, I'm trying to show you that. It's still quite wet. So it's got lots of moisture in the potato still, even though it's quite old. With white potato, as you know, when you bake it or you fry it, it shrivels up and it loses its moisture. It's very dense and dry. Doesn't add any, water soluble water to the system, and it becomes extremely starchy. So I would say the better alternative is our purple potato, because it's got a lot more nutrients and it's a lot more water soluble and has a lot less starch. The other alternative is the red rose potato, and that has a thin skin and again has a lot more nutrients and a lot less starch. So when you're choosing your foods, always look at the amount of water our vegetables contain, and obviously the deeper the colour and the type of soil that it's grown in is going to be a lot more beneficial for you. So thanks for watching, take care and good night.